Hello everyone, welcome back. This time we're going to talk about a thriller film titled Home Sweet Hell, released in 2015. The movie tells the story of a family that looks perfect and harmonious from the outside. They have a nice home, a comfortable life, and successful children. But behind that perfect image, their marriage is far from warm and peaceful. The story follows a husband who feels trapped in a tightly controlled marriage and ends up making a huge mistake by having an affair. Instead of fixing things, the situation only becomes worse because his wife turns out to have an extremely extreme way of protecting her family. Curious about what happens next? Alright, let's jump straight into the story. Enjoy the video. The film opens with a view of a quiet and beautiful suburban neighborhood. Living there is a family that looks perfect from the outside, successful, organized, and happy. The head of the family is a man named Don, his wife is Mona, and they have two children named Allison and Andrew. But behind that perfect image, their family life is far from harmonious. Mona is extremely dominant. Everything has to go exactly her way, with zero room for compromise. Their marriage feels rigid, almost like a work schedule that must always be followed. There's no real warmth or emotional closeness like you'd expect from a normal family. Mona is also obsessively controlling when it comes to their children. She demands they always be the best at everything, even if it means crossing moral lines, and the slightest act of defiance can lead to serious punishment. Dom, on the other hand, is deeply unhappy and emotionally trapped. Honestly, anyone in his position probably would be. To make matters worse, Mona often refuses intimacy because in her world, even their sex life has to follow a strict schedule. Still, Don chooses to endure it all, hoping to keep his family together. At work, Don serves as the manager of a fairly large furniture store. Interestingly, the business was originally built using Mona's parents' money, which technically makes Mona the real owner behind the scenes. One day, the store opens a job vacancy, and a woman named Dusty shows up for an interview. From their very first meeting, Don is immediately drawn to her. His co-worker and neighbor, Les, even encourages Don to hire Dusty. Half-jokingly, Les says Don needs a little excitement in his life to distract him from his stressful and suffocating marriage. Meanwhile, the film also shows a man who has just murdered someone. Afterward, he's seen watching a TV commercial for Don's furniture store. It turns out the man is Marpy, a gangster who, along with his crew, begins keeping an eye on Don and Mona. One of Marpy's men even secretly follows Don to find out where he lives. Meanwhile, Don continues going through his routine, stuck in the same dull, suffocating days with Mona.
Wouldn't pressure me. I have needs.
Eventually, Don completely loses control and starts an affair with Dusty. Their relationship quickly becomes more intense and emotionally involved, while Don and Mona's marriage grows colder and more lifeless by the day.
I can't.
Really, I just love you.
At first, Don manages to keep the affair a secret. But everything starts to fall apart one day during a family gathering when Dusty suddenly shows up with shocking news. She's pregnant with Don's child.
Don, I'm pregnant.
Of course, Don is shocked since Dusty had previously been taking birth control pills. But Dusty refuses to terminate the pregnancy. She says she wants the baby and keeps pressuring Don to take responsibility. Panicking, Don turns to Les for advice. Like most people would, Les suggests paying Dusty off so she'll leave and keep quiet. According to Les, women like Dusty are usually just after money, targeting wealthy men for blackmail. And it turns out the suspicion is partly true. Dusty is actually connected to Marpy. She's been used to lure wealthy men so they can be extorted later. But this time, things are different. Dusty has genuinely fallen for Don. Long story short, Don follows Les's advice and gives money to Dusty. He then tells her to end their relationship and never contact him again. But Dusty refuses. She feels insulted, as if she's being treated like a cheap fling who can just be thrown away once things get complicated. Don grows even more panicked. He's terrified his mistake will destroy his marriage and cost him his relationship with his children. And more than anything, he fears Mona's reaction, knowing she could completely lose control if she finds out. But the problem doesn't end there. The money Don already gave isn't enough for Marpy. He orders Dusty to keep pressuring Don. This time, they demand $20,000. Now Don is truly out of options because he's completely out of money, while Dusty continues pushing him harder and harder.
Danny, have you ever considered maybe she's making us up?
Blackmail, that is my dilemma.
He wants more. Your doorbell and in front of
With no other option left, Don finally decides to come clean to his wife. He confesses everything, the affair and the blackmail that followed. Surprisingly, Mona appears calm at first. She simply asks whether Don still loves her. Don answers that he loves Mona and their family, and that he deeply regrets what he's done. But that calm only lasts for a moment. Mona suddenly explodes in anger. She reminds Don of everything she has done for him, including the financial support and opportunities provided by her parents that helped build his career and their lifestyle.
God's sakes!
I need that money.
It has to be more than 13,000.
Get 25 or my call is to Mona. Furniture store, 8 o'clock.
This is where Mona's dark side truly starts to show. Coldly and without hesitation, she orders Don to kill Dusty so the blackmail will finally stop. According to Mona, anyone who threatens the stability of her family deserves to die. She then gives Don two choices: get divorced and lose his wife and children, or follow her plan and eliminate Dusty. Don is completely torn. He's not capable of killing someone, but he also can't imagine losing his family.
That should be enough.
The next day, Mona keeps pressuring Don to act before Dusty shows up at the office that night to collect the money. Mona has even prepared a high-dose drug to get rid of Dusty. She keeps pushing Don, telling him to stop being afraid and fight back against anyone trying to destroy their family. Cornered and out of options, Don finally agrees to follow Mona's plan. When Dusty arrives, Don welcomes her and offers her a drink that has already been spiked with the drug. After taking a few sips of the drink, Dusty starts feeling strange and notices that Don is acting unusually. Moments later, she realizes she's been poisoned and collapses to the floor.
Something in my drink.
Sorry. Oh, Dusty. Oh, God.
Mona then shows up and orders Don to put Dusty's body into the trunk of the car. When they arrive home, Don is overwhelmed with fear again, especially when he realizes Dusty is still alive. Mona, on the other hand, just laughs and tells Don to grab a hammer. Don hands it to her, but Mona insists that he must do it himself as punishment for his mistake. At this point, Don completely breaks down and admits he can't do it. Mona then tells him to open the trunk and says she'll handle everything herself.
Open that trunk!
After that, Dusty's body is taken into the garage. Mona then begins dismembering Dusty's body herself. Meanwhile, Don can't bear to watch. He runs to the bathroom and ends up vomiting from the shock. Meanwhile, Marpy starts to grow suspicious after Dusty disappears for several days without any news.
Always comes back. Piece of shit, that version.
By the store?
The next day, Don panics when he comes home from work and sees Marpy talking to his child in front of the house. Marpy then tells Don to meet him, demanding to know where Dusty is.
I'm fine.
When they meet at a nightclub, Marpy immediately pressures Don, demanding to know where Dusty has disappeared to. At this point, Don still manages to lie. He tells Marpy that he already paid Dusty and has no idea where she went after that. But Marpy doesn't buy it. He threatens Don, ordering him to deliver $20,000 the next day. If he fails, Don's wife and kids will become the next targets. Though honestly, it doesn't seem like things will play out that easily. After the meeting, Mona takes full control of the situation. She orders Don to dig up Dusty's body again and prepare to visit the gangster's house. Mona already has a carefully planned trap in mind, timed perfectly for the night Don and Marpy are scheduled to meet again at the club. That night, Mona heads to the gangster's house. The place is empty since everyone is at the club. She quietly enters and places something inside the refrigerator: Dusty's severed head, which she had cut off earlier. Not long after, one of the gang members returns home with a woman. Without hesitation, Mona kills them both using a kitchen knife. After finishing the job, Mona calmly leaves the house. One of the men who was still alive managed to call Marpy and report the chaos happening at their house. Meanwhile, Mona uses a burner phone to call the police. reporting suspicious violence at Marpy's home. As soon as Marpy hears the news, he rushes back and is shocked to find his house in complete disarray. He then discovers parts of Dusty's body inside the refrigerator. At that moment, Marpy realizes he's been set up by Mona, and all the evidence now points to him as the killer. Not long after, the police arrive and shoot one of Marpy's men. However, Marpy manages to escape through a hidden exit beneath the house. On the other hand, Don starts growing suspicious about his wife's past. One night, he carefully asks whether Mona ever experienced trauma or something bad during her childhood. But instead of answering calmly, the question triggers an extreme reaction. Mona immediately becomes emotional and firmly insists that her parents were perfect and never hurt her in any way.
Did anything to my parents or...
She even threatens Don, warning that if he ever brings up that question again, she'll kill and dismember him just like she did to Dusty. From that moment on, Don lives in constant fear, becoming increasingly paranoid in his own home.
For the party tomorrow. This is important. When will we get...
The next day, the police arrive at Don's house and inform him that Dusty has been found dead. Most of the people responsible have already been caught, though one suspect is still on the run, Marpy. Of course, the police have no idea that the real killer is actually Mona. However, there's one problem. Someone reported seeing Don visiting Dusty's house before she disappeared. With no other option, Don finally admits to the police that he had an affair with Dusty. He also explains that Dusty's boyfriend had been blackmailing him to keep the affair from being exposed to Mona, his wife. The police understand the situation, and one of them even jokes that he hopes they don't end up finding another body if Mona ever discovers the whole truth. In the middle of that conversation, a neighbor's dog suddenly wanders into Don's garage. The incident instantly irritates Mona. With a chilling tone, she warns that there will be consequences if the dog ever steps onto her property again. And sure enough, during Andrew's birthday party, Don makes a horrifying discovery. The neighbor's dog has been killed and stored inside their refrigerator. Mona's instability is clearly getting worse. She even starts planning how to get rid of Les's son, who is bigger in size and often beats Andrew in various games. During the party, the kids take part in a small competition between Andrew and Les's son. At first, everything seems fun and harmless, but Mona quickly realizes Andrew is struggling to win. Instead of encouraging her child, she lashes out and accuses the game of being unfair. She even goes as far as claiming that Les's son is using steroids just because of his larger build. Not only that, Mona also insults the boy's mother, Les's wife, who suffers from Crohn's disease, using cruel and completely inappropriate remarks. Don can only stand there in silence, growing more aware of just how heartless his wife has become. When Allison sees her younger brother struggling, she immediately steps in. She grabs a game stick and smashes the unicorn prop used in the game until it's completely destroyed. It becomes clear that Allison is Mona's favorite child, always treated better than Andrew. Watching all this unfold, Don feels deeply troubled. He realizes that if things continue this way, Allison could grow up to become just like Mona. At this point, Don finally makes a drastic decision. He wants to put an end to all this madness. He begins setting up a plan. Don cuts the power in the garage to create the conditions for an electrical spark. After making sure a spark could ignite, he then opens the gas valve and lets the garage slowly fill with gas. Then, acting calmly, Don tells Mona to go to the garage refrigerator to grab some meat, while he pretends to check on the grill outside. As Mona walks into the garage, Don slowly moves away as if nothing unusual is happening. The moment Mona switches on the light, an electrical spark ignites. The garage, already filled with gas, explodes instantly, killing Mona on the spot. After everything is over, Don moves into a new house. He now enjoys Mona's inheritance and lives with his children in a much calmer environment. There are no more cruel rules, no constant pressure, and no fear of being killed by his own wife. However, the story isn't completely over yet. Marpy the gangster who previously escaped is still alive. In the final scene, we see Marpy secretly following Don's car from behind. And with that, the film comes to an end. This film shows the dark side of a family that appears perfect on the outside, but is actually controlled by fear and overwhelming ambition. Every decision in the story starts from the desire to protect the family's image, yet it all ends in chaos and death. And even when everything seems over, the terror isn't truly gone. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.